How long would it take you to get there hanging on to Petrie's feet? Or riding on Ducky's back?
Oh.
These are measurements I don't have a way to quantify.
No, it's like the swallow from,
Monty Python?
Yeah, Monty Python,
Holy
Holy
Grail?
Grail. Like, we got to have Ducky and...
Those are real birds that can be measured and put in, like, a physical space. They didn't have, like, rulers or anything down for us to know how fast they were moving.
Because
we know how big
or
a
how
sharp
much
tooth
weight
is.
they could
because it's
carry.
a land before time, a.k.a. before measurement even.
What came first, the time or the measurement? I think measurement, because you have to have something with which to measure time.
No, time's just a construct.
Created by a time measurement.
Created by time goblins.
But I guess you'd have to have the idea of time in order to create a measurement for time.
No, but time exists whether you want it to or not.
No, it doesn't. It exists because we perceive it.
All right, stop perceiving it and see what happens.
I can't do that. It's not possible. I'm not fourth dimensional. Or third. Yeah.
I'm Joe.
I'm Ken.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dan.
And we're the Rewinders, rewinding movies to see if they hold up. And it still is the summer of sadness. Still don't know what the song is that I was supposed to be pretending to sing, but now we're here, and that's what it sounds like.
Make it your own copyright-free song. You're good.
Yeah. And this time round, we snuggled into the footprint of our mama by watching... no, not
Land
Wheel Before Time. Land Before Time.
Oh, boy.
No.
This movie existed before wheels.
It did.
It did. Dinosaurs didn't invent wheels.
Nope, they did not.
The wheelies.
No, we're not
Invented
doing
the
that.
wheels.
We did that
Imagine if the
already. We
dinosaurs
don't have
had
to go back to
Heelys.
that.
Did we do that?
What?
What are you talking
The
about?
Return to Oz?
We didn't do that movie.
Return to Oz.
We didn't really do it,
Didn't we? I thought we did.
but we can.
No.
I
'Cause
think
I
we
haven't
just
seen
talked
that
about
movie.
it onto
What
the
the hell?
side.
What the hell is
that it
Return to
existed.
Oz?
Oh,
I know the
boy.
name.
Exactly.
I know the name.
Nope. This is not the time for that.
No,
Not the
it
time
is
for that, but
absolutely
yes.
the perfect time to just do a real quick Google of it and have yourself a good kip.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Or the Titanic, the legend goes on. The animated movie in which everyone survives. They even have a sticker on the DVD that says that there's an ending where everyone is rescued for children.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a rapping dog. A rapping
there's-
dog. I shit you not, a rapping dog.
Are you saying this is real?
There must be another version of this movie where all the dinosaurs survive and they're still alive.
Ice Age.
Joe,
What?
that's the TV show.
No.
The family?
Yeah.
With not the baby?
Wait, is that supposed to be a continuation of this show?
The TV show? Yeah.
Dan said so.
There's shows and movies. There's a lot of little
There are
Land Before
so
Time
many
content.
movies.
I think I stopped watching at like 7 as a child.
I hated this
Wow.
film as a child, so we never
What?
got anywhere.
Oh, you're a terrible child. You're a terrible child, Dan. Terrible. I would have thrown sand at you.
Okay.
I agree.
So on that topic, Dan, you hated this movie as a
It
child.
was
Why is
forced
that?
on me and my sister, so I didn't enjoy it.
Oh.
And I don't like any of the characters. And it's still true to this day.
Wow. No.
Don't be that way, Dan.
Oh. My poor heart.
Who
Yep.
did your parents force this
They
on
thought
you?
it would be a good film for me and my sister to watch. And we didn't like it because of that.
Okay, fair enough.
Your parents are like, imagine if one of us died. You should treat us better.
I don't know
Listen
what
to
the
us so
logic
you don't
was
get chased by a
behind it.
sharp tooth.
Oh my god.
It's a cute
I
movie.
think it was because it was such a big kids film at the time that it came out that my parents are just like, our kids will like this mainstream thing. Let's make them watch it. There were points where both my sister and I were just like, we don't want to watch this anymore, and my parents are just like, well, no, it's almost done. Keep watching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You could say that from the beginning. It's
Good
so
Lord.
short.
So your parents Clockwork Oranged you to an animated movie about dinosaurs.
Yeah, pretty much. Now that I think
All
about
right.
it.
That's wild. I don't know how a parent can just say, "Oh, watch this." Like, I feel like a child normally would just get up and just start doing something else if they weren't into the movie.
I understand your I don't know what word I'm searching for, but I understand how sad you are towards this movie now. Okay, I get that.
Distaste?
Distaste. There you go. That works. Distaste is nice. I don't know how this came about. I think it's just because. So Land Before Time was what, 80 something?
88.
88? Oh, my birth year. Wow. So anyways, yeah, I don't know how it came about, but I just remember it always being there. So it was a movie that always got played. I always watched it. I have very fond memories of it. I remember it coming along to, like, my parents used to rent out a hotel block with their friends for, like, New Year's and stuff like that. And I'd always be sitting in the room watching that while they were out partying. And I don't know. I grew up watching this movie a lot. And then as the subsequent sequels started coming out, I started getting those as well. But the first one was always my favorite, just because it had a different tone to it entirely. The newer ones had singing and dancing and goofy hijinks. Whereas
That was
just...
appropriate for children.
No, this is appropriate for children. Don
Absolutely.
Bluth knows what's best.
I maybe that's what it was, because my parents had a lot of other Don Bluth films, like Troll in Central
Yes.
Park. I could probably quote that movie from front to back.
Don Bluth is a good man, and I appreciate it. And I'm so pleased because I looked him up after this to find out he's still alive and kicking. That made me smile.
Shaking his head at all the poor animation coming from wherever he is.
Yeah.
I assumed the United States, but
He's
then
American.
after watching this movie, I saw Ireland all over it. So I was like, is he from?
Don Bluth is American. I looked it up because I was going to call him the American Miyazaki before I started watching this movie. And so I was like, is he actually American? So I looked it up. He's American.
Mhm.
And then I watched the movie. I was like, maybe not Miyazaki. It's not quite as... It's definitely got its own look to it. And it's definitely a pretty movie, but it's not Miyazaki pretty.
Yeah, he's definitely American. I can't remember. I believe he worked for Disney, and then Disney let him go. And then he quit, one or the other, and he went on to make his own animation. So good for him. Good for him.
So then I watched this movie in a time before I can remember. I don't even remember. When did this movie come out?
88.
88.
88? So this must have been real early in my... I must have saw this one really early. Maybe I saw this in the theater. I just didn't know it because I was too young. Anyway, really loved this movie as a kid. I even had the... I had to look it up because I wasn't sure what company made it. It was Pizza Hut. Had hand puppets.
Oh,
Yes,
I
those.
remember those.
I
Yep.
had those. They're amazing.
I didn't have all of them. I think I had Petrie. No, not Petrie.
Spike,
Ducky.
Ducky.
I'm pretty sure I think I just had Petrie and I had Sarah. I think those were the only two I had. So I didn't have all of them either. I apologize. I retract my statement.
I wish I had Spike. Maybe it was Spike. It would have been either Spike or Ducky because those were my two favorite. And I left it on a city bus and I never saw it again.
No.
That was a sad day for my childhood.
Oh, there's the summer of sadness. There it is, guys.
That is
There's the
very
saddest
summer
part
sadness.
of this episode.
Yes, let's all reminisce over our Pizza Hut trinkets we lost. I remember I had what was that? Eureka's Castle. I had Eureka's Castle puppets too, hand puppets, and those are gone somewhere. I miss all my Pizza Hut stuff. I had a Yoda poster that was awesome.
Yeah, as I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, that's right, this scene. All right, this scene. So I actually remembered this movie incredibly well, but if you would have asked me beforehand, I couldn't have told you much about it. I completely didn't remember about Tree Stars, even though it was a very big part of it. But then, like, watching him walk around with it as a cape and stuff like that, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it now. So, like, I remember the visuals as they're going on, but only as I was seeing them again. So then what about you, Joe? You got history with this here classic?
Joe's got beef.
I watched it in the theater when it came out originally in 88. That was good, I guess. And then I believe we had a copy on VHS that I'd watch off and on until, I don't know, a year later. Because this came out when I was 9. So I wasn't fully in the age bracket for this movie, I don't think. So while I did see it in the theater, while I did watch it once or twice on VHS, I didn't keep watching it that much.
It was the TV show for
this...
me that I watched a bunch of
Okay.
because the TV shows were significantly more fun.
I just watched other stuff like Commando, RoboCop, Amadeus.
When you were 9? Jesus, this explains so much.
Hey,
I liked watching adult movies more than I did like watching kid
and
movies.
RoboCop is a damn good role model, so hell yeah.
Shoot a man, dick.
Yes. No, not just a man.
They're
not just
alive.
a man. A rapist.
It's not funny. It's actually what maybe should happen.
Exactly. And then he's such a good man that he actually told the woman she should go to a trauma center.
And then walked away.
Walked away, yeah.
Yep, left her on the street.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have a great pull to this movie. It was I really enjoyed Don Bluth, and even back then it was like, Don Bluth film. I would like to watch that. And, I saw it and moved on. That's about it. So, with that letdown of my history of this movie, what are some of the things that really stick out about this film to you guys?
The opening. Like, it hits, and it hits hard. Like, you get that Universal logo, and then boom! It's just ocean, amazing score, all kinds of incredible stuff going on underwater. I love it. I love everything about it, and it brought me right back.
Sadly, I think whether or not this has been like, I'll say tidied up for HD, I don't know if it has, but Netflix
sure messed
is
up something.
not
Yeah,
displaying one that was cleaned up. That was
Yes, Netflix looked rough.
that underwater scene was.
It was blurry.
It's because
but
there's
it's not
that
the movie's fault.
there's that film grain filter that is put over everything.
Mm-hmm.
That Netflix
But it's
does.
not the movie's fault. It's
I
Netflix.
don't think that's the movie. I think whatever they did when Netflix upscaled it, they put this stupid film grain on, and it makes everything so blurry.
Pretty rough looking.
I think you just have bad TV there, Dan.
I would disagree.
Shots fired.
get rid of it.
But the amount of effort and the animation and everything going on in it is so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And not stopping there, the movie is just beautifully animated. Like, there's just so much going on in the movie. There's so many details. I love this movie. Don Bluth just knocked it out of the park with this.
It's a very, very typical Don Bluth.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not one of my favorite Don Bluths. It's
Yeah.
low on the list.
can-
I got
I can see
Troll
that. I
in Central
understand.
Park is going to be the top tier for me.
But this ain't no straight to DVD or straight to VHS piece of
No.
crap that got pumped out. Like, this could go toe to toe with The Little Mermaid around the same time and be like, you know what? We can hold our own. Because Little Mermaid was 88,
Yeah.
right?
I
don't
think
know.
Yeah, it's right around
89, yeah.
89.
Well, I mean, like you said, it had really good music. This is James Horner doing.
Oh, I didn't know. I never looked it up. Which,
Favorite
Rip.
film composer.
I forgot
This would
he
be
passed
going
out.
up against Oliver and Company
Yeah,
for
I
a Disney
watched
film
that too.
that came out in '88.
I'd say this one could go up against Joe and Co. Not necessarily Little Mermaid. That's a whole new level.
for songwriting and for just the catchiness of, that's different, for sure. I agree. Animation is what I was talking about. Animation for Little Mermaid is colorful and vibrant and happy. So, yeah, I can see that.
One of the first Pixar films came out in '88. Tin Toy,
Oh,
Tin Toy, the first one?
yeah.
Yeah.
And Willow, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I loved Willow. Oh, Willow was so good. Roger Rabbit's really good, except it gives me headaches today when I watch
finally
it.
watched Roger
Right.
Rabbit a few years ago, and I liked it. I'm going to be the odd guy
It's
out
good.
here and say I did not like Willow. I'm sorry. I
I've
did not
never,
like it.
I've never seen
Oh
Willow.
no,
I finally watched it.
I can understand not.
I
liking
finally
it.
watched it back in 2016 for the first time, or 2017 for the first time. Maybe I came into it too old, but
yeah.
coming into it now, it's the acting and just everything about it is rough.
It suffers because it's
So long.
Lucas's Ewok sickness.
Ewok sickness. I love that.
everything's got to be cute and for kids,
Uh-huh.
even though it's dark and foreboding. And it's like, stop it.
Yep.
Kids can handle dark and foreboding. You don't need to dumb it down for them.
Yeah. Which dark and foreboding works very well in this movie.
Yeah.
I am a fully grown man now, and I've seen this movie enough, and I still tear up at Littlefoot's mom dying. More so, which I wasn't expecting, I forgot the scene where he sees his shadow and is all excited because he thinks it's his mom and runs up to it, only for the shadow to get smaller and it's him. Holy shit.
That's a whole lot for a child to deal with. It's really tough even for like an adult. But it's like wonderful symbolism of his loss and how he's going to be alone after being told, like, hey, oh, you're alone. Old Rooter is going to walk away from you now.
Oh, old reader. The narrator, nonetheless. What a good guy.
He's like, oh, yeah, well, that's just the way life is. Bye.
Right?
And so then he goes, and luckily Littlefoot's not alone for very long. He gets to meet the ever lovely Sarah.
Sarah is the one
Took
thing I
me way
can't
too-
stand in this movie. Sarah, to me, has always had the most atrocious personality. I could not
She's
stand her.
supposed to.
Yeah.
I know.
She's the
she's
boastful
this
one.
annoying Triceratops.
Gotta hand it to Littlefoot. He really gives her a lot of second and third chances for her just being a real jerk all the time.
Littlefoot's generally just a good guy with a good heart. He just cares
And
about
there's
making
that one
people
point-
happy and making sure his friends survive.
Littlefoot's going to fall for scammers when they call him.
Oh,
in the
for
future.
sure.
Littlefoot would be the one who succeeds at MLM because he keeps pushing.
Yeah. God. Yup. So I had to look up Rooter because I was like, I know that voice. And then I realized that's the narrator too, and I was curious. And I found out it's Pat Hingle. And I was like, I know that face. What's he from? And then I went down a rabbit hole. He was Commissioner Gordon in the first Batman movie series. So, Batman Returns, Batman Forever. You could absolutely, recognize him, but he's also in other stuff too. So
I thought that one was also Gary Oldman because Gary Oldman's that good.
oh yeah, he's amazing. He can definitely get in. But no, Rooter was like a really good point. I love when he bumps into Rooter and Rooter just kind of sets him on his way, gives him some good advice, and that's that.
It's a good reset for everyone in the movie. Just be like, hey, this did happen. This is heavy. We're not trying to downplay the importance of this, but we do have to continue on.
Yes,
We have to make a movie. You should follow us.
absolutely.
But it's also really good that they gave Littlefoot that space to actually show that it's okay for him to grieve.
Oh my God, it's so important.
And that while he does it, the adult in the room, Rooter in this case, doesn't shame him for his grief, doesn't tell him he shouldn't be grieving, but just kind of gives him that gentle nudge in the direction, as you said, just got to keep moving. So he basically assists in redirecting his focus, not negating his grief, but trying to reflect him so that he can get out of it in his own pace and direction, which is really great and is not seen in very many films, whether animated or live action. Usually it's people telling people to quit grieving, or one magic little sparkle happens and grief is gone
That's such a
for the sake of storytelling.
That's incredible, Joe, because I wasn't even thinking about that. But you saying that, like, I'm thinking back to so many movies where, like, yeah, there's like a moment of grief when someone dies, or like someone dies and that's it, and they all move on. Perfect way I could paraphrase this, or not paraphrase this, but bring up an example for this is the scene where everyone thinks that Petrie dies, and they all just accept it, and they all just turn around and walk away.
Yeah.
Like, that's how most of these films would do with grief and death. And then the next scene, everybody would be happy or something fun would be happening. But it does take time to allow Littlefoot to actually grieve. In multiple scenes, nonetheless.
But they make a joke of it in the TV series. Like, Petrie's almost always dying in the TV series. It becomes a joke.
Oh, Petrie.
To be fair, Petrie was chomped on by a Sharptooth,
Mm-hmm.
and that would generally kill anything that it happens to, and they just assume Sharptooth dragged him down to the death because Sharptooth has, 20-ton bite pressure, if I remember correctly, from our 7-part Jurassic Park series.
What?
At least you had some takeaways you
What's
remember.
a dinosaur?
What?
35,000 newtons of bite force.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Whereas a human has typically 300 newtons.
Okay, that's so many.
That's a lot.
I can't even put 300 newtons in my mouth.
Those
So
figs
that's a
won't eat
lot of
themselves.
yeah.
though,
Those figs
Joe.
will not eat themselves.
That's good.
So, in a way, sad-ass movie moment. One of the saddest movie moments. I mean, when the color fades from Littlefoot's mom's tail and it stops moving, oh boy. And you just hear her voice and that's it, and it starts to rain.
They do that a bunch with the color fading in this movie. I wasn't sure if it was on purpose or not, but like when
for that one,
Sarah
for sure.
sees the Sharptooth for the first time, like her entire face goes pale. The rest of her body is still like that yellow color that she is, but like her face goes pale. They do it a few times where they mess with colors, and I wasn't sure whether or not it was on purpose or just bad copy.
Oh no, it's intentional. It's intentional. Yeah, when her face goes flush, that's intentional. She goes white as a ghost because the Rex's eyes opens up.
Well, yeah, she was just headbutting it like an idiot. I'm sitting there being like,
exactly.
Sarah, don't be dumb.
Which, to be fair, that Rex would just be a puddle. That Rex would not be just laying down taking a nap. But anyway,
Yes. That was a long drop.
That was a very long drop into the. I can't remember what they call it, but
We don't even know if it's the same Rex, to be honest.
it is. It is the same Rex. That's the one that fell. That's why it's like That's why it's got an impact impression all the way around it. It landed on its back. It's not just sleeping. It fell. That Rex fell.
I could argue that it's a totally different T-Rex. They've been traveling for how long?
Nope. That's the Rex. The Rex.
They traveled around in circles a lot in this movie.
For a bunch of dinosaurs following the sun. That's true.
Like, they circled back after running away from the Rex and magically ended up back at the star leaf that his mother gave him. I was like, is that the same star leaf? And later it is the same star leaf, or they're just pretending like it is. But
No,
they
it's
do
the
a lot of
second. It's the
circling
second
back,
star
a lot
leaf.
of walking in circles in
Because
this movie.
there's two of them in the movie. There's the first one that he gets with his mom, and then he finds another one, in almost the same whatever kind of tree makes those pentagonal leaves.
A good one.
The star tree.
The T-Rex smashes the last one.
Yep. Like a jerk.
Yeah. The gift. T-Rex doesn't know.
Nope.
That's true. That's true. All right. So another thing I liked is I like the wound. It's not bloody for a kids movie, but it's just enough to show you that she's been wounded. There's the chunk missing out of her back, and that's good to see. It's good to see.
I feel like they edited the blood out of that. I remember
They
that
might have.
scene
No, there's
it was
never
bloody.
blood.
or
There was
like
never blood.
darker.
No, there was never blood because even as a kid, I'm like, I don't remember anything happening. Why is she dying? And then as I grew up and like watched the movie again repeatedly, then I noticed that there was the big chunk missing out of the back, or not the chunk, but the skin was missing out of the back.
Yeah, big old cuts on her at least.
Yeah. And then you got to watch because it's the shadow. The shadow tells the story. So it's the T-Rex when, this thing that can't jump jumps onto her back and bites her. So
Look, they took a lot of artistic liberties with this.
They did.
With this Rex, and I loved it. Like when the T-Rex is chasing them through the brambles and it starts sniffing around like a
oh
hound
my
dog.
god, that's one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie. I love that scene.
I never wanted a Sharptooth more than at that point in my life.
Yeah.
Watching that, it was so cute. I want a Sharptooth now.
The bramble being pushed on top of them into the ground while it sniffs is one of my core memories of this movie. Like, that's just terrifying. They're trying, and Sarah just won't listen. They just, oh man, I love it. I love it. And even with the artistic liberties, I give mad props to this movie because it's 88. It's still in that bumbling dinosaurs are idiots moment. However, the T-Rex has 2 claws. There are so many movies and so many things that have T-Rexes with 3 claws for some dumb reason. Just because they don't pay attention, I guess, to archaeology or paleontology. But yeah, it's refreshing because they tried.
Were they bad swimmers because they had short, dumpy arms?
I mean, yeah.
Or did their big old powerful tail let them be able to swim like an alligator?
If we're talking the Jurassic Park novel, the T-Rex could swim because, yes, it was like a gator. It would basically get in the water and let buoyancy do its thing and then just move its body, swish its tail. That's why my favorite scene in the book is the whole scene where, it's on the river and Grant's trying to get the kids away in a little raft. But
you mean all of Jurassic Park 3?
Good.
Kind of, yeah. They kind of recycled that for 3 with the Spinosaurus. And then, they couldn't do it in the movie because they cut it. So, hey, let's put it in a theme park. So they actually put it in Universal Studios. But in this one, we're going to say that this T-Rex is dumb and can't swim. I also really enjoyed, I can't for the life of me think of another dinosaur-centric thing where it's not your typical T-Rex versus Triceratops, which...
The scene was lifted from that old, stop-motion animation, edge of film from the 70s.
Yeah. I'm looking something up quick because I'm a little rusty on this and I want to know. So Tyrannosaurus rex lived in the Cretaceous period, obviously. The Triceratops lived in the Campanian, which was 83.5 million years ago, whereas the T-Rex lived 83.6. Okay, so all right, we're good. I can't remember what it was, but there's some typical... there's some typical dinosaur fights that couldn't have actually happened, but anyways.
Nerd.
I like that this is like the atypical dinosaur fight. It's not a Triceratops with big horns where you can physically see they have weapons and they're fighting a T-Rex. It is a T-Rex versus an Apatosaurus, which is sweet as hell. You never see that. You never see a sauropod fighting a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's cool. I love that and appreciate the hell out of that.
And that the Apatosaurus are using all of its weight and stuff. You just, as a kid, definitely you didn't think of it. It'd be like, oh wait, that tail is gonna have a lot of beef to it.
Oh yeah, that tail's a good old whip.
Mm-hmm. They did have, I don't know the name of the dinosaur, but they showed it as it was going to steal eggs and eat them. But I learned earlier this week that is not what they did. Some dinosaur guy that's on a drawing show that I watch, he's just like, they don't do that. They just originally thought that because they kept finding them around eggs. And then they found out, it's because it's their nest.
Oh.
That's why they were around the eggs all the time. So they had to rewrite it at a certain point when they discovered, we keep finding them around eggs because
they're Jurassic rabbits.
That's another thing I actually really liked. Not to derail that, because I can't remember what it was. I know there's an Oviraptor that joins the squad in the later movies, and Oviraptors are always depicted as stealing eggs and being egg thieves for some reason. But no, when all the other dinosaurs come to meet Littlefoot when he's first born, I loved that too. That was cute. Because he had all the individual ones, he had things that were stealing eggs. He had all the different animals that just came along, or all the different dinosaurs came along just to see him. And I loved it.
Because he's the Jesus dinosaur. He's going to lead everyone to the promise.
Oh,
no,
no,
he's the Moses dinosaur.
Oh, no.
There. He's going to lead everyone to the promised land.
No.
He tried getting lost for 40 years, but
Yeah.
how did that work? Where Sarah and them all go off and Littlefoot goes the 90-degree direction from them, trying to go up a hill. Did he finally just give up and was walking slowly behind until he heard that they needed his help?
More than likely. He's a good guy. He's not going to leave his friends behind.
Oh, he did, though.
This is
because no
too
one was
steep.
listening to him.
No. Well,
Little
yeah.
fucking is a little shit.
Oh, whatever. how about that scene where he's sad and all those little...
You mean he's sad the entire
wig
time?
fellas?
This
No,
entire
no.
movie, he is just
How about
inconsolable
that
little
adorable scene?
No.
What about the adorable scene where he's just he's melted like a plop of pudding?
I hate
and
all
he's
of the
sad,
characters in
and
this film.
All those little flying bastards come up and the one gives him a cherry. That's cute.
And then he doesn't eat it because he's
Too sad.
unthankful.
He's too sad, Joe. He's sad.
No, he was chuckling during the frogs in the bubbles scene. I don't know how that works either. That's fine.
Yeah.
And that was but still.
I'm still gonna have to say my favorite part of the entire movie, and the part I look forward to every time I see it is Spike's hatching. That's just it's incredible.
I love Spike.
The only thing I don't like is how big he gets. He's tiny, and then all of a sudden when it comes time to eat that grass, he's 10 times the size he was. I don't he's huge.
He mows down that grass so fast.
Yeah, that goes right in to take another nap.
I get it.
I love Spike.
Eat a nice big meal, go back to bed. I get that so much. In fact, I had breakfast right before we started recording, and I'm kind of feeling that right now.
Oh, for sure.
Uh-oh. Gotta keep going. Gotta
Gotta
go.
keep
Gotta
going.
get this done.
Oh no, we're good.
Sorry.
I am an adult. I have built careers off of staying awake when I shouldn't be.
I feel like it's been me mostly saying good things. Does anybody else have anything good?
I got
about
nothing
this?
good
I'm
to say
worried.
about this film.
Oh my god!
Oh, come on.
Oh my god! Come on!
No, absolutely
Dude, they pull
not.
off a Scooby-Doo trap, and it actually works. Scooby-Doo infamously always does their elaborate trap plannings, and they never work out. But these kids figured out a way to kill the T-Rex, and they stuck to it and did it.
Plot
That's
armor. Plot
Plot
armor.
At the same time, Sarah also gets out of her hoity-toity shell and helps them push the rock off the cliff to kill the T-Rex. Like,
Irredeemable character.
she's not a great character. However, she is starting to at least be a decent
Friend?
dino at that point. I was going to say person, but she's a fucking dinosaur.
Doesn't get any better.
She's tough to like. She really is tough to like.
And along with that, I hate to say it, she's the only character that experiences growth.
Yup.
Uh-huh.
Only one.
I say it doesn't help that she starts off being taught that she should be racist.
Oof.
Oof.
I'm not gonna lie. Coming back to it and seeing her dad again, I remember being scared of her dad as a kid because just the way they animated him and the way he's so loud and so sharp, I guess. I don't know. Like, he just looks visually sharp, and he scares me. And hearing him roar again in this one, that's just... Yeah.
So you're saying this movie traumatized you?
No. This movie taught me a valuable lesson that someday your mom will die from a Tyrannosaurus Rex attack, and appreciate her while you can.
Sounds like trauma to me.
No! It's a good lesson.
It's a good lesson. I mean, it's definitely also a guilt trip a little bit. But
A little bit. A lot of it.
It's good to remember that if you care for someone, it's not a forever thing.
Yeah.
One line that caught me off guard that I enjoyed the most in this movie came from Ducky.
Oh.
And Ducky said, "Many things do not fly. Rocks, trees, sticks, Spike." I was like, damn!
Oh my god.
Why you gotta dig on Spike?
No, I don't know if that's a dig on Spike. That's just an observation.
Many things don't fly.
Spike doesn't fly.
Spike barely gets his belly off the ground.
Land before time, racism abound.
It's not a racism at this point. That is a species description at that point. It's like, yeah, no, Spike doesn't fly. He doesn't have wings. Maybe they didn't invent airplanes yet. Spike might have been a real nice pilot otherwise, just to prove Ducky wrong.
How would airplanes look if dinosaurs invented them?
Oh, like a giant pterodactyl or some other winged.
Oh.
And you'd sit inside it, kind of like cat bus, but there you go.
I was trying to figure out the pilot stuff because, like, they don't sit down. Like, there's arms doing things, there's legs doing things. Like, they'd be on like there'd be like a pivot point in the middle of 2 points, but for all 4 legs, so you could steer the front and the back things, and you could still I guess have a up and down with that's a lot of area in the cockpit. Cockpits are intensely small for how much stuff they have up there.
I was just gonna say, I just picture it as a giant version of a pterodactyl with like a small cockpit, which is the head, with 2 small normal-sized pterodactyls or patrodons or whatever sitting in front flying.
I like that. I was thinking if you needed the cockpit small, they could just train the small mammals that exist because they can use all their limbs.
True.
Unlike the dinosaurs.
We're also talking about a cartoon movie where the dinosaurs sometimes have opposable thumbs and sometimes don't.
They had opposable thumbs.
There are points in which
Ducky probably did.
Dinosaurs that wouldn't have appendages are using their appendages like arms.
Well, that just makes sense, Dan. Why you gotta hate?
Gotta anthropomorphize these characters. That's here and there.
Well, yeah, you gotta. Nobody else is gonna. I do like that this was a Spielberg-Lucas production as well. So a few years ahead, you know.
That caught me by surprise to see that on there.
Yeah, you know, Jurassic Park was coming later.
More dinosaurs.
Just gave them the taste.
Well, yeah, I mean, Spielberg
more.
was always a dinosaur nut ever since he was a kid. So I think this was like a good step in that direction to what eventually led to Jurassic Park.
Yes, I made this
Wait,
this
are
dinosaur movie, and it was
Spielberg?
so bad that I need to make one that is more realistic.
Oh my goodness, Dan. Oh my. Oh my. You're wrong.
Oh.
Absolutely wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. I think some of the best points of this movie are that it's short and
Yeah,
the story
thank
is easy
God.
to understand.
Yes. I was surprised by how short it was.
Got to get from here to there.
I definitely thought, like, remember it
Stuff in the
being
way.
longer, so, like, I panicked when I forgot to watch it last night, and I woke up this morning at about 8, and I'm like, oh, God, I haven't watched the movie. I need, like, an hour and a half. Oh, it's not going to have this done before the episode, before we need to record. And then I saw the runtime, I'm like, oh, good. I have a spare half hour.
Right? Yeah, we were having fire last night, and it's just like, oh, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze this in before it. I'm really worried I'm not going to be able to watch the movie before we record. And then I was like, oh, it's only an hour. Yay! That's actually pretty nice.
It's even shorter when you stop the film immediately when it ends before the credits even roll.
I did not allow the credits to roll this time around. I will agree. I cut them short.
I think that this movie was the first of movies to have incredibly long end sequences and credits.
They wanted you to know that after all that traveling, they made it. They wanted to show the happiness of the Great Valley.
With a terrible song.
It was a pretty bad song.
God, that song sucks. That's on a that can kick off the what we didn't like about the movie. That end song.
Yeah,
That end song is pretty bad.
It doesn't fit. Is it supposed to be a happy song? Or is it supposed to be this, like, bittersweet thing? Because, yeah, they made it, but, like...
At what cost?
Well, I mean, I guess there really wasn't much cost except for, like, Littlefoot losing mom. Yeah, but the rest of the dinosaurs don't care.
Oof. It's true. It's actually
Spike
true,
never
but
had
that's
any
hard to
family.
say.
He got a family after that.
Yeah, I feel sad for Spike. You never see his family. He's just
I think
there.
you do in one of the other movies or the TV show or something. They find... Spike ends up having a voice, and it's just... Ugh.
That makes me very sad inside.
Becomes a pastry chef.
Spike would be a wonderful pastry chef.
I don't know. I just made that up.
Yeah, he would be.
It seems so.
Already tapped on it, but Sarah, she was just so abrasive the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
She had a little bit of character growth, but even with that, they left room for character growth in the next 7 movies.
Yeah, she's tough to
I
like.
bet there's not a whole lot in those either.
There's not a whole lot of love for Sarah at all.
Not from this. I've heard people say they like Sarah. I was like, really?
Oof, those people are wrong.
Really?
Those people are very wrong.
Well, maybe they're just into confident women.
Ducky. Ducky's very confident.
Ducky is naive. She is
I
not
don't know.
confident.
There we go.
Okay,
I
fine,
wouldn't list her
fine.
as being confident.
That makes sense too. I get it. All right.
I think the thing, and this, I don't want to bring us down this road, but we're gonna have to at some point.
Do it.
I think the thing that makes me not like this film the most is knowing what happened to Ducky's voice actor.
Oh my God, it's hard to not touch base
yeah.
on it, but it's nothing to do with the film, which is tough. But then again, I guess it does because she was successful from it and was starting to make money, and that's what led to everything. But it's not the film's fault, Dan.
No, the film is not technically to blame. That is correct.
I mean, I'm going to have to Google this because I have
Oh,
no idea.
God.
Well, I
Okay.
got it now.
The 3 of us can cover it for you.
That's why we picked this as a Summer of Sadness movie, because outside of Littlefoot's mom dying, that's a pretty big hit for the actress as well.
Her father shot her in the head while she was sleeping, and then
Yes.
went down in the garage and took his own life.
After killing her mom? I think wasn't it a double homicide?
It was a whole family thing.
Yeesh.
Her father,
yeah.
Her father was an alcoholic and became angry and threatened to kill himself, his wife, and his daughter. He got arrested 3 times for drunk driving. The wife or her mom repeatedly reported his threats of physical violence to the police. The police found no physical signs of abuse, so decided not to press charges. Or she decided not to press charges because she didn't have anything. So he stopped drinking, but continued to threaten both of them. Talked about cutting their throats as well as burning the house down.
And
stuff.
it got worse once she started, like, the money started coming in from the movies.
That's the problem. In May 1988, after breaking down in front of her agent, Barsky was taken to a child psychologist who identified severe physical and emotional abuse and reported the findings to CPS. The investigation was dropped, though, after her mother assured the caseworker that she intended to begin divorce proceedings against the father, and that they would be moving. On July 28th, 1988, all 3 were found dead in apparent murder-suicide. Yeah. So a neighbor heard a gunshot at 8:30 in the morning, and that was that.
That's wild.
To me, that's far sadder than this movie.
Yeah.
And her final film,
Of course, because it's real.
her final film was All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, Jesus.
Aw, I like that movie too.
Yep. She was Anne Marie.
Another Don Bluth film.
Another Don
She
Bluth
was Anne
film.
Marie. So yeah, that was the saddest part about this, is growing up and realizing, oh, good God, what happened to her?
Gotcha.
She's known for Ducky. Her character is Ducky. That's the worst part. Like, it's like All Dogs Go to Heaven is technically her memorial because it was her last film, but
And she was incredible as Anne Marie.
Yeah.
I didn't see that movie.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Another sad Don Bluth film.
Oh my God.
I say it sounded
Until you get to Big Lip
difficult
Alligator
to deal
moment.
with.
When you get to Big Lip Alligator moment, all bets are off.
Man, I don't even remember that.
What? You don't remember the like New Orleans jazz singing alligator living in the whatever the hell?
No.
Are you combining
I
films?
don't get to watch all these Don Bluth films.
I hope not. I'm looking
I
it up
feel
right
like
now.
you're combining the
That sounds like
rescuers.
Princess and the Frog.
The
Jeez.
rescuers.
Nope. All Dogs Go to Heaven. Big lipped alligator. There's like the big ol' like New Orleans alligator that sings and talks to Charlie. King Gator. King Gator lives in the sewer.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
He's a giant alligator that lives in the sewers of New Orleans, and all dogs go to heaven. Until Charlie saves the day and makes a song with King Gator and soothes him. Anyway, so yeah, outside of that being a very sad, obvious point for the movie because the actress was taken away in such a terrible way. Yeah. That's all there really is to say about that.
Yeah. Any sort of loose critiques for the film just feel kind of like, well, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. I did have one. It was just the I don't know how to describe this, and I've tried to figure out how to describe it in the past with other movies, but like they're always everybody in this movie seems to be in a place of what the hell am I trying to say? Like a place of coincidence at all times. They just happen to be there when the Great Continental Divide happens. They just happen to have this thing happen. They just happen to go through this thing. They just happen to have this happen at the same time. Over and over and over again.
Plot armor.
As an audience for Walkie, it did, so that way we would have a movie.
It's called plot armor.
No, it's not called plot armor. It's called good Don Bluthen.
Lazy writing.
No, good Don Bluthen.
So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and think Dan's not going to want to recommend this film.
Oh, we got an We got an
Is it? And now I don't know if I'm just jaded because I've never liked this film to begin with.
That's definitely a hard thing to hear because yeah, it doesn't sound like you had a good childhood with this movie.
Wait, hold on. Didn't have a good childhood with this movie.
I had a great childhood. Did not have a good experience in my childhood with this film.
Sorry,
we go. Okay.
sorry. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that you didn't have a good childhood, but you didn't have a childhood memory like a good one with this movie.
Yeah.
Which is
This
sad.
movie ruined my childhood.
I wouldn't go that
No,
far.
it didn't.
Yeah, Dan reserves that for Escape from New York if he ever saw that as a kid.
No, I didn't, and I hadn't, and I still won't. And don't you dare bring up watching Escape from LA. I will quit. I will straight quit.
Come on.
Well, we're not.
Good.
But it's a classic. It's so bad.
We have other
So
bad
bad.
films to watch.
As for Land Before Time, I'd say if I was going to recommend this, it would have to be that the person would have to watch it with someone else who had watched it when they were younger.
Yeah.
Or that the person I'm recommending it to is a young person, because this will not fly as coming in as an adult with no experience on it. I just can't see it keeping an adult's attention.
Why did we waste an hour and 9 minutes? Is
I
what would
wouldn't
come
call
out
it
of
a
that.
waste. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
call it a
you
waste.
but you had for
Oh,
them.
For them.
For them.
Got it.
I don't think anybody I know would call it a waste if I watched this with them.
No, they would question why you even brought it up, though.
What? No, they wouldn't. They'd know why I brought it up.
Well, I guess that's fair.
I mean, is it any kind of a stretch that I'd bring this movie up?
No. I don't know.
No.
I'd have a really hard time recommending this movie just because of the content. You know me, I'm a happy person. So recommending somebody to watch a largely sad movie doesn't really fit the bill for me. It works for me because I watched it as a child and loved the movie, but it'd be really difficult for me to be like, hey, child, go be sad for an hour.
Like,
Go learn some facts of life.
if I had
no.
like friends who have children that are of the appropriate age to watch this and they've never seen it and they're just like, hey, have you ever heard of this film? I'm like, yeah, I've heard of this film. Do you want to traumatize your kids for a bit? Go right ahead.
Are your kids misbehaving? Do you need to dole out some light trauma?
Yeah, do you need to remind your children why they should love you?
It feels
Jesus.
This feels like it's a very late 80s, like, I don't know, you can't even say that it's a like a life lessons film because like the kids don't really learn anything. The only character that does is Sarah.
Littlefoot does at one point too. He tries to make everyone go his way. I'm leading you. This is the only right way.
Yeah.
And in the end, they end up everyone going, which is actually the correct way, through the mountains that are on fire or whatever the direction was supposed to be. He just took the meaning so literal that he didn't want to go around any obstacle that was in his path. He just much rather go up and over it just so he could be on that literal path the whole time. I forgot where we started with this. I'm sorry.
And thank you for bringing up the volcanoes, because that is the point in the film where I lost so much respect for the character Sarah, who just let Petrie fall into the muck and
The
just
tar?
let him go.
That's tar.
Yeah, the tar.
Petrie
tar.
is dying.
Tar, yeah.
That entire
In
scene.
tar.
He's going to die. And she just walks away from him. She also walks away from Ducky and Spike, who are crying for help. She doesn't even turn her head. I'm like, holy crap.
She's kind of cold.
If you didn't like her before, this is the reason to not like her now. She wasn't going to stop for anyone.
She's pretty awful. So the whole journey, the whole pilgrimage thing, I did as a adult now. I am not a religious person, and I took it extremely overtly religious of Littlefoot's mom basically saying, believe what I believe because it's right. And, don't let your friends talk to you otherwise. Force them to go on a trip with you to this place because I told you it exists. Well, have you ever seen it? No, just believe me. I have problems with it. That's my own personal thing, but it really does feel like it's just like shoving dinosaur religion down another dinosaur's throat, I guess. Is the best way I can describe
I
it.
heard the same thing this time. I thought that was very dangerous verbiage to be putting on people as children.
All I could think about is how it correlates to literal human children watching the movie, which would be obey your mother because she's going to die someday, and follow religion. Listen to what they say and don't question anything. I don't like that. Probably unintentional and probably just the way I'm looking at it, but that's just me.
Probably done out of expediency to get a plot done and portrayed to children, but the end product is a very dangerous statement that could be taken as a lesson by children to learn to just listen to adults that are in the power of authority and just listen to them.
Yes.
And trust in their words, and like you said, don't question.
Like literally, Littlefoot doesn't have so this is where I struggle, because I get it. It's good. It's good that they went to the Great Valley. It's good that he listened and actually led them there and everything was happy and fine. However, it just really, to me, like the overtone is just like, you don't get to be who you want to be or figure out who you want to be. You're a damn child. You haven't even begun to live your life yet, but I'm telling you who you need to be, because if you're not a good person. And that's what I took out of it. And I know that's extremely sensationalized, but yeah, I don't know.
One way that it could have been molded better would have been if there were clear delineations where having friends got them through things And it wasn't just following the laundry list that Littlefoot was left with.
Yeah.
That if there was something that Ducky helped them get through, if there was something Spike helped them get through, and it's
Falling on the
not
power of
all
friendship.
just following
Or
that
if the
list.
other dinosaurs knew about the Great Valley. Because Littlefoot is the only one who's ever says, "Hey, I know of this place. Let's go." And none of the other dinosaurs really like. I mean, Spike makes sense because he didn't have family to tell him that there was this other place of safety to go to.
And sadly, you saying that just again backs up the whole Moses kind of like mentality that Littlefoot is ingrained with.
Yes, and that's coming at it from a cranky adult's eyes.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
They all end up there, though, like Noah's Ark.
Yeah, he led them to that great valley. He sure did.
Unless we're thinking of this wrong, and
directions.
the Littlefoot is death, leading them to the afterlife.
I kind of like that.
Sure. That
I kind of like that. That's cool. I'm down with that. Littlefoot's death.
Littlefoot dies, brings everyone he meets with. He comes in contact with his dead. The parents are on the other side of the divide. The mother didn't necessarily die; she watched her child die. Yeah, we can make that work, and by we I mean it works.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
It's messed up, but I like it.
It would make sense that all these other dinosaurs would gather and I hate to say it, but be happy to see them, because in death, if
they say the line,
the one that's supposed to guide you,
in the end, we'll all lay
other
together.
Side is there.
Yep.
There we go. Dan beat the odds and gave an alternative version.
I'm happy with that.
That works.
No,
see, Dan,
I didn't. Care. That was something that I read that is a supposed deeper meaning of the film kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Bluth likes to, what's the word? Subliminally message within his films.
I don't know. I think the Moses / Jesus thing is a little bit too on point, and that death just takes a little bit too much creativity to get there. I don't know. But I like it. I'd rather have it that way.
Agreed.
It's a little bit of heavy lifting, but it's definitely the better better of the two analogies.
It is. I completely forgot my biggest complaint about the movie before we forget. I know we're in the section where we're talking about if we'd recommend it, but I had to save this because it is the biggest detractor from the movie. It made me mad as a kid, and it makes me mad as an adult now. And it is unforgivable. Littlefoot never eats a tree star. And they look so delicious. They look so perfect.
Them, the tree stars are like nothing in the subsequent films.
Yeah. The tree star holds such relevance in this movie, and it's so delicious looking, and it's like the only food available for this kid, and he holds on to it and covets it. He never gets to eat one, and that makes me so sad.
Because this was a gift from his mom. And then the other one was a gift from his spiritual mom, because he happened to find one in another one of those stupid thicket things where only a single leaf grows at the top of a bunch of spikes. really don't like that idea.
This series got pretty crazy towards the end there. I mean, they become friends with a sharp tooth baby, and eventually, I guess, an oviraptor that sings. Yeah.
We don't have to talk about
this series. Is
any
what they
of the
did.
others.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine not talking about the continuation of the series. We're good. Did
this movie stand up over time? I'd say yeah. Technically speaking, it stands up.
Oh yeah.
Is it something that I would recommend? No.
It's hard.
Very hard to recommend.
You gave it a maybe earlier.
And I gave it an eh. The chances of me recommending this film to anybody are so low.
Dan, that's like the most stellar approval rating you could give. Like, I picture like a poster with movies on it with you shrugging, and it just says, eh? That's how people know that it's a good movie. And that's how they know they should go out and rent it.
So he's saying there's a chance.
Dan says it's eh.
Oh, Dan gave it an A with a question mark. Yeah. If it's an A with an ellipse, we're not going.
It's an ellipse. Definitely an ellipse. There's no question mark there. Yeah, it's not a question. It's a more of a resignation.
Outside of me loving dinosaurs, I it'd be difficult for me to recommend this to folks, especially, you know, it's like trying to be like, oh, you want to watch an animated movie with your kids? Oh, you should totally watch Fern Gully. It's a great film. Let's go watch Fern Gully. Yeah, tell me about the tar monster when you get to. It's that good old Tim Curry fellow. Like I can't recommend this. Have fun when Littlefoot's mom dies. It's not a fun film recommendation.
If you weren't really feeling slightly anthropomorphized dinosaurs, let's do rodents. Go watch Secret and Him.
Secret.
Yeah,
That's another Bluth.
Also Don Bluth.
Yeah.
Love it.
That doesn't trip your trigger? Okay, we'll go up the hierarchy on lovable animals. Let's go to dogs. Dog don't work for you? Okay, let's do something more fanciful. We'll do trolls and children under the age of 6.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say a living, breathing toaster going on an adventure to find its owner that threw to the side.
Do you think Bluth enjoys making children sad? Is that what he's going for?
I don't know. I think he's going for like good life lessons, but like no bullshit.
Dark.
No, he is the anti-Titanic. The legend goes on. He would never make an alternate ending where everybody survives.
No.
He would write the Oceania sequel, though.
No, I mean, it still sticks with me. Like, one of the first memories that I have as a child watching animated movies, especially Don Bluth, is watching an air conditioner have a hyperventilating freak out and die. That's terrifying.
I haven't seen this movie. Holy crap.
And by the way, the ship in American Tail sinks.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's right. So other than the mice surviving, tons of people die.
Probably.
Oh my God.
Now, American Tail was a messed up, sad movie. Another movie we watched as a kid more than we
That's
should
one
have.
I've never seen.
Oh, it's so good.
It's pretty
Don
good,
Bluth
yeah.
is probably the reason why I don't want to
Don
be
Bluth
sad anymore.
is
Just like I had
is
too much of that.
The trauma of the 80s and early 90s children.
I'd say well, yeah, but his stuff in the 90s was not as
Traumatic?
Death oriented.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, Troll in Central Park was probably one of his newer ones. Now that I think about it.
That was still early 90s.
I had to look him up. It looks like the last notable...
The one with the flying ship.
Looks like the last notable thing he did was Titan AE, which failed miserably. And
Yeah, that's
But
what I was
that's
talking
because
about.
Titan
there was
AE
a movie after that.
Titan AE, at least from what I'm seeing, I don't see any films after Titan AE.
There was one more. It's like some random name, like Hoople or so. I'm looking it up. But that was the last thing I saw his name attached to, his movie after Titan AE.
Secret and Nim, American Tail, Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Rock-a-Doodle was probably his first film that isn't like death adjacent.
Yeah.
And I barely remember it because there's not enough death in it.
Dan, he directed Pete's Dragon.
Wow. I
Directed
didn't
it.
realize
Yeah.
he
It's
was...
like he's got his
pretty
name
good.
on like Robin Hood and Pete's Dragon.
He
and
helped with Robin Hood, but he didn't direct it.
Sleeping Hood.
But he directed
Sleeping
Pete's
Beauty.
Dragon.
Troll
he
in
started
Central
off
Park
with
was 94.
Oh, that's it. I found it. Gift of the Hoopoe? Gift of the Hoopoe is the last thing I see his name attached to. That came out in 2009. Titan AE was 2000, so it's like those were the last two big things, it looks like.
Hoopoe was a short, not a full. It was 30-minute
Okay, so the
festival film.
So then, yeah, Titan AE was the last thing. He had a big failure and then just disappeared.
But Titan AE wasn't a failure because of the fact that
Him.
it wasn't the film. It came out at the
No.
same time as... Oh, God, what came out around the same time? And it got blown out of the water.
Probably like Iron Giant or something.
The year 2000.
I think I know what you're talking about, Dan, but I don't remember the name.
It opened the same weekend as Shaft, Gone in 60 Seconds, and Big Mama's House, as well as Mission
Oh.
Impossible 2. So, like...
Well, none of those were in competition.
Dinosaur also came out in 2000. That Disney one.
That was okay.
I never saw it. El Dorado came out at the same time too.
I also don't think it was well marketed.
It
No,
had,
that's
like,
the
no
biggest issue.
marketing at all.
Oh shit! Emperor's New Groove came out in 2000 as well.
That sounds like a Bluth killer
That's
right
something
there.
that would
That's
have
a Bluth
done
killer.
taken a chunk.
Mean Girls is on there, but that's not an IE killer. That's just,
That's just a damn good
a
movie.
good movie.
Really good movie.
Shaun of the Dead came out.
Bedazzled. There's all kinds of good movies in 2000.
Sin City. 2000 was a great Amelie, great year for movies, but
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard
It's
Ken,
a one. It's
you
another.
love
So, like,
happy
it
movies.
just-
That's right up there. That's the happiest of
It's
movies.
a very happy
I
movie. It
doubt
deserves to
that.
be watched this month for sure. For sure.
Just
That's a
looking at
one-time watcher as well. You don't go back and rewatch Requiem for a
Yeah.
Dream.
No, you don't.
It doesn't fit into the
Oh,
time period
man.
for us.
I
but-
made the mistake of watching that by myself. Oh man.
It's a fever dream movie for sure. It's like the best use of the word or the phrase fever dream. Oh,
I don't think we're going to get there. Are we going to wrap up?
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say no. I know exactly what killed.
We got distracted.
I know what killed Titan AE. Battlefield Earth came out in 2000 as well.
God damn.
Good lord.
Scientologists ruin everything.
On a side note, I did try watching that this year for the first time ever, and I made it about 15 minutes in and could not stand the constant angled cuts of every single frame. Every single frame in that movie is angled like 15, 20 degrees. And I
A
got
lot of
so
Dutch
fed
angles
up
for
by-
it being an American movie.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Anyways, I'm going to go eat a tree star at some point after this. Pour one out for Littlefoot. Pour the water out of the tree star.
Well, that was us ganging up and killing our nemesis by drowning them unapologetically and in a deep hole never to be found again by its friends or family by watching Land Before Time. If you like what we're doing here, it's talking crap about movies and sometimes doing a theme. Come check us out. Subscribe. Have other people subscribe. Get on someone's phone that you
Don't
know.
do that. No, don't
and
do
subscribe.
that.
So they're
That's
like,
pretty
hey,
dubious.
what's
That's
this?
pretty
that's gonna
dubious.
get us lost even more fans.
You go to the phone store.
No, I'm
You
joking.
go to the
Oh,
phone
I like where
store.
Ken's
You
going with
download a
this.
podcast app on the phone store's
Yes.
phones, and you set it to automatically download the podcast.
Yes. That way everybody
And
go
play
and look
the
at new phone
worst
models can see us.
episodes.
That's a good idea.
And then come back next time when we continue the animated sadness of the summer of sadness. And yes, it's all animated because all the non-animated films that we thought about doing
Schindler's List.
stopped streaming.
Yeah.
So next time, come back for a little bit of Fox and the Hound in the Summer of Sadness. Next time, when we rewind again.
I couldn't imagine anyone leaving their phone alone long enough for me to be able to download a podcast app and then subscribe to our podcast.
Put a little cardboard phone down, and they won't know the difference.
Okay. Pro tips.